Keith, thanks for being with us. Obviously, last year, everybody came under pressure with the economy going down the toilet. How did you deal with this economic crisis?
I think one of the most fascinating parts of the year last year was how do you plan for future growth, but also plan for potential failure. And I think what we did was we started the year by being very focused on what we're good at. And we continued to expand in the mail category, and we looked at all our other new initiatives and said, let's make sure the world doesn't collapse around us entirely first. And as we grew, I think 100% year over year in Q1 last year, we knew the world wasn't going to collapse, and we went back to expanding as we had planned to, but we certainly slowed down.
So how do you decide on hiring and firing? How does that come into play? We look for the best person for each role. I mean, on a hiring standpoint, we take a long time to hire. I think it took me a year to hire my first sales guy, but we found someone who was amazing. And I think finding amazing people and letting them hire other amazing people has genuinely served us very well. Firing is a whole other story. I think it's usually easy to identify who you don't want to be part of your organization, and it's just a matter of nipping that at the bud before it becomes a problem within the organization itself. So on the business strategy side, who do you choose and how do you choose to partner with certain companies?
I mean, well, we look at as the executive team, we look at all our priorities and we look at, do we have the internal resources, or if not, is that something we want to invest in? And in most cases, if we can do it ourselves, we will do it ourselves, but in a lot of cases, you want to partner with the best in breed or those who are willing to grow with you as your product evolves. And so if you look at some of the people we've worked with over the years, they've been people whose businesses have grown up with us, and that's made for both of us learning what the product needs are and evolving together.
You talked briefly on cash burn versus conservation. How does that dichotomy play out? Obviously, you're a young company. You might not be profitable. You have this set cash. Do you use it to further the product, or do you conserve it to be a little bit more conservative and prolong the lifetime or life expectancy of your company? How do you think about that?
I think a lot of it depends on where you are in the company life cycle. We've been, since 2006, revenue, had a revenue model that worked for us. And so we knew that investing $1 would, whether or not it was the next day, in a few months at least, would get us $1 back at least. And so therefore, we've always been very aggressive in how we chose to expand, maybe with the exception of last year's Q1. I think if you haven't proven that out yet, if you don't know what the ROI of investing in your product is yet, you should be more cautious and operate more slowly. Because the reality is, you might be just wasting $1, which is okay some of the time, but you want to be wasting $1 as part of an education that figures out for you how you get the ROI. And
so it's having that confidence in the ROI and your core competency
absolutely
to drive that dollar. What are 3 top things that you would tell any new startup or entrepreneur before they get started?
I would focus on what is the revenue model. In Silicon Valley, it's sometimes in vogue to focus on the product, which is very important too. But where is the revenue model, and get started early in the experimentation on that revenue model. I think I got some great advice early on in our business that said, hire sales guys early. They'll help you shape what your ad business is, and that really served to be the case. And I think it's one of the reasons we're so successful today. Number 2, hire well. I mean, it's the number one advice you give almost anyone is, hire the best people and let them do their thing. And number 3, spend some time each day worrying about what could be potentially negative for you in the future, and figure out what you need to invest in today in order to avoid the pitfalls. And I think another reason why we've been successful this year is we anticipated the problems we were going to have this year very effectively at the end of 2007. And so what we spent our time and effort on in the beginning of 2008 helped us prepare for not just a recession necessarily, but also for just general business problems that we've encountered in the last 6 or 7 months.
Great. Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.